What are people actually looking for when they type something into Google? So even if you have this really long, in-depth piece of content, that doesn't mean it's going to rank if it's not what the people actually typing it into Google are looking for. Like if people are looking for the listicles and that's what's getting the clicks on the front page of Google, then that's what Google's going to rank regardless of the quality of your content. Like it's still going to rank quality, but it also takes into factors which things are people actually clicking on and how much time are they spending on those pages. So if they're not interested in reading this super in-depth, long piece of content and they just click back and they just want the quick and easy tips, then that's what Google's going to rank. So it's not necessarily that Google wants to show these things. I think it's more so that the people want to see those things on Google.
Want to discover new parts of the world while filling the pet-shaped hole in your heart? House-sitting website Trusted House Sitters gives you the chance to live as a local in over 130 countries, opening the door to a world of travel possibilities. And with thousands of pets looking for caring sitters like you every day, there's no doubt you'll discover the perfect travel opportunity with the perfect travel companion. Whether you want to wake up in a Spanish beach condo with a cat or a high-rise apartment in New York City with K9 Company, house-sitting allows you to see the world in a new way. And not to worry if cats and dogs aren't your thing. Trusted House Sitters has pets of all shapes and sizes, from alpacas and horses to rabbits and hamsters. Find out more about house sitting and unlock a whole year of unlimited sits with adorable pets by visiting trustedhousesitters.com or download the Trusted House Sitters app on the Apple or Google Play Store.
Welcome to the Digital Nomad Cafe podcast, the show where we discuss what it takes to create a sustainable long-term online business in today's fast-moving environment. We talk with industry experts and freelancers alike to find out what it takes to build and manage a location-independent business.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Digital Nomad Cafe podcast. I'm super excited to bring you today's guests, Bill and Kayla, who run thewanderingRV.com, a hugely successful website that generates revenue through affiliate commissions. Welcome to the show. I don't even know where to start. There's so much to talk about.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So I came across your website through a friend of ours, and he recommended that I reach out to you guys. I had a look. So the Wandering RV is an authority site is what I would call it. It's a website specifically focused on one niche, and you have put a lot of thought and time and effort into building this up. So can you take us back? Why did you decide to build this website? What led to it?
Originally, it started that we just wanted to fill in our friends and family with our travel journeys.
Yeah, so we started off living in an RV, and Kayla's idea was to start the site just to show people where we were going and what we were doing, and it kind of took off from there when we started using it as like a guinea pig, because we used to do SEO for clients, and we were learning a bunch of new cool stuff, and I was really passionate about the SEO aspect of it. So we wanted to take what we were learning and kind of apply it just so we could test out some theories. That kind of eventually led into us making a little bit of money, and we realized, hey, why not scale this up and see how far we can take it?
Did you start out with like the Amazon affiliate program, which is where a lot of people may start out? Because there's unlimited products. I know it's a small commission, but if you can build it up over time, is that how you would have cut your teeth with doing affiliate content on the blog?
Yeah, so Amazon was the first one that we started with, and then we slowly branched out from there once we figured out what was selling.
Yeah, Amazon's commissions aren't the best these days, and they keep slashing it. So, strategic alliance for rental companies similar to. I know another guy who runs a website, and he does a lot of hostel reviews. Like best hostels in Dublin, best hostels in Amsterdam, and he's an affiliate for the likes of Hostel Bookers, Hostel World, places like that, and you can get a good commission for recommending over to a booking software company. So is it something like that you had for RVs?
Yeah, we work with Outdoorsy for RV rentals, and use a lot of our content to get people into rentals and exploring around a little bit, and we make a commission there.
So I guess when you started the site and you were just updating, your friends and your family, you mentioned that you were working in SEO. So were you freelancing while traveling around, I imagine, the United States in your RV?
Yeah, it started as freelance writing. Kayla and I were both doing the same thing, but separately. Like she had her clients, I had my clients, And it just got to a point where you can only make so much money doing freelance writing because people are only willing to pay so much for just strictly words on a screen. So that's when we started to learn SEO to kind of be able to charge more. And then that was kind of what led into learning about content marketing and SEO and blogging and link building and all this other stuff.
Well, I was reading through on your website, which is billwidmer.com, and just looking through your client list, people who you've worked with over the years, such as, Content Marketing Institute, Social Media Examiner, Search Engine Journal, sumo.com, to name a few. So those are huge clients. So we do get a lot of freelance writers who listen to the show, and a lot of people who have, not a lot, a couple of people who've come on who are freelance writers. So can you talk a little bit to when you were freelancing, how you did get these sorts of clients? Did you do outreach to these people? Was it LinkedIn? How did that look?
Pretty much it started as us just writing for our clients. And when we were learning about things like link building and guest posting and stuff like that, that's when we reached out to these different sites because they accepted guest posts and, they were really big sites. So we started off writing guest posts for them, and eventually they just loved our guest posts so much that it turned into a client relationship. So I would say guest posting and referrals have been our two biggest drivers of new clients.
I get what you mean. So actually go to these websites that have the authority in the industry, but have a right for us section. And, you're writing for free. You're writing for exposure at that point, but it can help. First of all, it can be in your logo banners, that I'm good enough writer that I can write on Social Media Examiner and have my content accepted, but also can create this referral process for you. So
yeah, exactly. You have to find a way to kind of link your different processes together. So when we were doing SEO for clients, part of that was link building. So we were doing guest post outreach anyway. And while we were at it, we just made them as high quality as possible. That's kind of really what did it for us is, it's not like just your generic 1,000, 1,500 word guest post. This was usually like 2,000, 3,000, some of them were even 5,000 word guest posts that were just like bangers. Like we really put everything into them.
I really can't. If you haven't been to the website yet, you need to head over to thewanderingRV.com for anybody listening and just click through. Like what you're saying here is like 100%. Like this isn't like 500 word, 1,000 word, even 2,000 word articles. These are dynamic pages, beautifully built, multiple questions. You're linking out to other people's website. There's so much thought goes into these, that, I would say that it's the best piece of content on the internet for that query. And that is, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you.
But truthfully, like that's like, the 50 must have RV accessories. Like you click into that and you look at it and there's just so much content. It's so well put together. It's visually aesthetic. It's mobile responsive. Yes, it's got loads of affiliate links, but that's how it makes money. Like, it's like I don't know. It's absolutely fabulous content. So when you're putting this sort of content together, like what's your thought process on this? Does it begin with the keyword research? Is that where it all starts?
My favorite way of finding keywords for these articles is to use a tool called Ahrefs. Essentially, they have a content gap tool, which you plug your website into it, and then you plug in all of the other websites that are in your niche into it. And it'll compare your site to their site to see what keywords they're ranking for that you're not. And you can go through those keywords, and I'll literally spend an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours just sitting there going into these keywords one by one to see, okay, what's the content that's ranking? How many clicks does this get compared to, a lot of times you'll get a lot of views, but not a lot of clicks. So if it's like an information query, I know I'm getting kind of into the guts of things right now, but
do it.
if you see a keyword and it's got a ton of clicks, or not a ton of clicks, a ton of views, so a ton of searches every month, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good keyword, because if it doesn't have a lot of clicks, so if someone Googles, I don't know, Trump's birthday, it'll show Donald Trump was born this date, and you don't even have to click on anything. And that isn't a good thing to rank for because all it's doing is showing information and you're not actually getting any traffic to your site. I don't know why that was an example. I think I read that as an example somewhere before, and that's what it...
No, but like,
what an odd example.
I mean, I've seen some stuff come out around this. I believe in France they might be even suing Google for this at the minute, where, you know, they're doing these little drop down snippets. So people are Googling things now, and they're not actually going out to the website. They're just clicking, you know, like a little drop down arrow and getting the answer to their query. But in France, I believe they're making a case about this, that like, you know, yeah, that wasn't Google's to
They're
show.
stealing
Yeah, they're
information.
stealing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't Google's to show, but it's definitely something that's made. I mean, look, like that's, I notice myself doing it sometimes. You know, like you might click, you might not actually go into the website. You'll click the drop down, but look, this Google is forever fluid. It's always changing. You know, I've even read some articles recently about people who had really good, well thought out, well put together articles. I believe it was the guys over at authorityhacker.com, and they were talking about, I think they were top for like how to make money blogging or something. And they lost their ranking. And that was a really difficult keyword to rank for. And all these pages that were like real generic listicles had taken the top spots. And they were like, all right, let's pull back this really big, long, detailed piece of content, change it to a listicle, and up they went back up the rankings. It was like, because that was what Google wanted. You know what I mean? Like that's what they decided at this time, that's what the sort of content they want for that query. So
yes and no. So what you're talking about is user intent, search intent. What are people actually looking for when they type something into Google? So even if you have this really long, in-depth piece of content, that doesn't mean it's going to rank if it's not what the people actually typing it into Google are looking for. Like if people are looking for the listicles and that's what's getting the clicks on the front page of Google, then that's what Google's going to rank, regardless of the quality of your content. Like it's still going to rank quality, but it also takes into factors which things are people actually clicking on and how much time are they spending on those pages. So if they're not interested in reading this super in-depth, long piece of content and they just click back and they just want the quick and easy tips, then that's what Google's going to rank. So it's not necessarily that Google wants to show these things. I think it's more so that the people want to see those things on Google. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's what the people want, and it's what, like you're saying, what they're engaging with, where they're spending the time. Because, you know, we all know Google tracks everything. You know, it knows everything of what's going on with the website. So I guess with yourself, so, you know, how long did it take between, like, let's say, you know, launching the site, you're out, you're traveling, you're working on your clients, to like, let's, you know, this is a real serious thing we have here. Like, you know, the traffic is growing, the content is ranking, you're getting some commissions. You know, how long do you believe it took for the website to really start to ramp up for you?
It was probably 2.5 to 3 years before we started making an actual income off of it. Like we made some money before that, but it wasn't nearly enough to live off of or to stop working with clients or anything like that. And then it wasn't until probably about year 4, I want to say. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that we started making enough to actually compete with our clients, like as far as income goes. And then this year, literally in the last 3 months, we've stopped working with clients.
Yeah.
So this is the first year that we've been able to focus completely on our own projects.
So you're all in. You're the second guest I've had on now who's all in on their affiliate website. So, well, I call it affiliate website. I'm sorry if that's not what you call it. It's just
no, it's fine. Call it whatever. I don't care.
It's just a term. Now, you did mention that, like, so with the skills that you have and the knowledge that you have, and I know this is a beast and the content takes, you know, I imagine a lot of time to put together, and we can get back to that afterwards. But, you know, seeing as you have the skills, you've proven the concept, does it make you want to diversify and build out, you know, new sites in similar industries? Like, I imagine you know, especially yourself, Bill, when you're in Ahrefs, if it's you who's doing that and the keywords, and you're bound to come across things you're like, Jesus, there's opportunity there. And how do you catch yourself and be like, nope, come back to the Wandering RV and let's stay focused? So what's your thoughts on that?
I definitely think it's more of an issue that I have than Kayla. Kayla's a very focused person, whereas I'm more like, all right, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, all over the place. So I do have to catch myself. I think right now we are diversifying. I mean, Kayla's got her food blog that she's working on, thesustainableharvest.com. And I have my website, billwidmer.com, that I do want to put more time into. Most of our time right now does go into the Wandering RV, but we are starting to kind of branch out and try other things. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. No, like, so you do have, like you said, so you're building another site out. You have your own site as well, which I mean, primarily was used for as a place to help with your clients, but now you don't really need that. So it's probably, we'll see what we do with that further down the line.
Yeah, I have plans for it, but we'll see when I actually get to them.
Oh, fair. Oh, believe me, I know how that feels. So I guess let's talk about just the like a little bit about the content that you are putting out on the website. So, you know, they're quite robust articles, and you know, there's two parts to it. One is the making of the content, and the next is the actual promoting of it and building some links and doing everything else. Pinterest as well, I noticed you do quite well. So, you know, let's just get a little bit into that. So how, I know it's how long is a piece of string, but like, you know, how long typically would you put into, you know, maybe research, publication, and then like the promotion of content for the Wandering RV?
I would say it depends on the goal of the piece. If we're trying to rank something on Google, typically those are a lot more research, it's a lot more in-depth, and it also depends on the difficulty of the keyword we're going after. So if it's an extremely difficult keyword, we're going to put days, if not weeks of effort into one piece of article. Like Kayla, for instance, had an article where she reached out to, how many people was it? 100? Or no, 300 people?
Yeah, 300 people.
Their favorite places to travel. And that took her, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to...
Yeah. I mean, that's also relying on other people to get back to us, but...
Yeah, it does take time when you're doing outreach posts like that, but
then there are posts too, like I did an RV generator post or a trailer hitch post, and we don't really know too much. We have to research those, but then like 50 RV accessories, that took me like a day to find all of them.
A full day at least.
Yeah, a full day, but it doesn't take as long as the heavily in-depth posts.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it depends on, you know, how much formatting goes into it. Like, are we creating custom graphics? But to give you a generic number, most of our articles probably take us at least a day or two, like a full day or two.
Yeah.
But like, that's good for people to know. And that's, you know, I mentioned the last guest, Niall Doherty, who was a freelance web designer, and he now is all in on his website doing really in-depth course reviews, you know, but some of his stuff takes weeks, you know, like it takes weeks to put together that one course review. But that's what it takes now if you want to have, you know, be an authority in a niche, you know, if you want to create, as I said, the best piece of content on the internet for that topic, and especially if you're looking to involve other people and loop them in and get their, you know, input, if you will, and everything else, get quotes from them, get the recommendations. So just for people listening, that, you know, if you are building these sorts of websites, like, this is the sort of quality, you know, if you want to get to this level, that's the sort of quality that people are putting out there. So that's what you have to compete with.
On a note there too, I do want to mention quality doesn't necessarily just mean length either. Like we were talking about before, search intent on Google. So if you go on Google and, you know, the top 3 results are less than 2,000 words, pumping out a 6,000 word article isn't necessarily going to help you beat out those articles, because that might not be what people are looking for. I've had situations where I was helping a client write some articles for certain keywords, and I saw, you know, all of the top ranking articles were like 1,500 words or less. And I was like, I'm just going to bang out something amazing, like way longer, way more in depth than any of these. And I did, and it didn't even hit the first page of Google, like after months. And I didn't know what was going on. And then once we changed it to be shorter, kind of similar to the Authority Hackers case study, it ended up actually hitting the first page. And it was because a lot of the tips and advice that people were looking for were just like bullet point, like, here's what you need to do, boom, boom, boom. Like, it wasn't going in depth on each of those points.
Yeah, the listicle style stuff. So, but it just goes to show. So just, I guess, to go a little bit deeper into that. So if you were doing research now for a new, you know, like, if it was your website, if it was somebody else's, would you Google the phrase and actually look at what's ranking versus just spending your time in a tool like Ahrefs or, you know, SEMrush or whatever it is that you use?
Yeah, I literally Google the keyword. Anytime I think I might want to rank for something, I will Google the keyword always, not just look at it in Ahrefs. And I'll go into each article and I'll skim through every single article to see what they're talking about and how long it is and what their angle is and all of that kind of thing. So I never write anything without actually looking at the search results.
Okay, and the format of the article. So, I mean, that's important because I think a lot of people didn't do that before, but now it's become more important. Like we're talking about, because this is what's being served, this is what the users want. So it's all well and good if you think you're gonna write, like you're saying, a really long article or a really cool and put all this effort into it, but like Google wants what it wants or the users want what it wants, not Google. So it's important to see for the keywords you're going after, what's the sort of content that's ranking, and make something similar. Don't try and recreate the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, Google is always changing, but at the same time, it always comes down to getting more people to click on the search results, so giving people more of what they want, having a similar format to what's already working. Like, as long as you create quality content that matches search intent and you build links, that's all you're ever really going to need. I don't think Google's ever going to get rid of those three things. Those are going to be the staple forever.
That's it. And then when it comes to promotion, because I think this is where a lot of people struggle. You mentioned a lot of guest outreach, to help build these big, contributor articles. So when it comes to promoting an article, where do you even start? What's your strategies? I know you have a lot of Pinterest pins going on. There must be a good RV community on Pinterest. But besides that, what else have you got going on when you have a piece of content finished?
We'll reach out to anybody we link to within the article and mention that we link to them. We do initial outreach to get people like quotes and suggestions and things like that into the article beforehand. So it's kind of like a pre-promotion. So that way, once it's live, they're like, oh, show me it once it's live, because they contributed to it. So that gets a lot of shares, some backlinks, things like that. Doing any kind of original research or studies or things or statistics of any kind is usually a really good way. And then reaching out to journalists and different news outlets and stuff like that is a good way to build links. Kayla, can you think of any more?
Actually signed up to Harrow there recently, which is people keep mentioning it to me. So help a reporter out, and you get your email twice a day. So if there was anything about RVing or stuff like that, you can get mentions from pretty big newspaper and blog websites, but you got to be quick. It's like those journalists got to do however many articles a day. So it's like when you get that email, you better be replying, or you better have a VA monitoring it or something and hitting you up as pretty quickly. But you can get links from some very powerful websites by using Harrow, and it's free. There's a free plan. That's all I've signed up for, but that's an interesting one. And look, I love the idea of these, contributor posts that you're talking about. You often see it like, 30 SEOs give their tips, or 20 social media marketers give their tips, and this is really good. It's a really good strategy, because like you're saying, those people feel like they contributed. It was fairly easy for them to do. They just give you over a wee paragraph or something. You do the work. You build out this big, beautiful article with loads of contributors, and they'll link back to it and share it, because it's a quality piece of content.
The key to making that work too is making sure that the article that comes out of that makes them look awesome. So like the design, the graphics are designed really well. The formatting looks good. Like, it looks good on mobile and desktop, no matter how you look at it, because the way an article looks is just as important, sometimes even more important, than the actual quality of the words on the page itself. Because when someone lands somewhere and it looks well designed, like professionally done, they instantly trust it over just seeing, a white background with some text on it.
Your site is class. I love it. And what are you using? I know you mentioned Thrive in your podcast, but that could have changed, or maybe you're too far in bed with Thrive to change it. So is that still what you use to build your website, the Thrive content builder?
Yeah, we still use Thrive. Kayla, you use, what's it called?
I use Elementor for my site. Yeah. I like Elementor a lot better.
I went with that on the Digital Nomad Cafe for my website, Astra, Theme, and Elementor. I had Thrive before, but I don't know, it kept breaking for me, but maybe I just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's we've had a lot of issues with it over the years, but their support team is really good. They're good about fixing things right away, and they'll actually go in, and if anything breaks, they'll fix it for you and stuff like that. So it's been a rough ride, but all in all, they fixed pretty much all of the issues, and it's working pretty well now.
No, that's good. And like you say, I mean, it builds beautiful site. The content's all sectioned up. It's class. I absolutely love what you did over there. It's something to be admired. And for people who are aspiring to build authority websites, or websites in general, like it's very good. Even all the gift guides I see there now, gift guides for RVers. I mean, that's perfect. Like, it's Christmas. Hopefully you're getting plenty of links and shares on that piece of content. Over the Christmas. So when it comes to all the outreach, like, do you use any tools for this, or is it purely just, research yourselves, or with an assistant or a freelancer to help you with all of the outreach?
We do like to use a freelance assistant when we're able to, but it's been
just us for quite a while.
Yeah, not the best experience working with others. We need to get
No.
better at finding and hiring the right people.
Yeah.
But I think that's a problem a lot of entrepreneurs have. But as far as tools go, we use Mailshake for the actual outreach. What is it? Hunter.io, I believe, for the email finding for what we can.
Didn't we just start
No,
using...
Voila Norbert is the one we use.
Didn't we just start using BirdSend?
No, that's for email marketing,
Oh.
not for outreach.
Yeah, no, I have Mailshake myself. That's what I use, and Hunter as well. So similar tech stack.
Yeah,
for the outreach, So look, I mean, this has been so good. So what would be your tips? Like kind of takeaways with all the experience you have years down the line. I mean, when you look at a website like yours that's so well established, it ranks so well, it gets so much traffic from Google. It's kind of like, I mean, for somebody who's just starting out, they might be like, Jesus, where do you start? Or, how would I even begin to build something like this? So what would be your tips to somebody who wanted to build a website in a niche that they could then, potentially live off like you're able to now with the Wandering RV?
Start small, see if it's something that you like. Start with one piece of content after one keyword, and don't stop building links and promoting that until it ranks. Don't try creating content every week or, every month or whatever it is until you've kind of gotten a process down and you can find something that actually works. Too many people are just creating way too much content. I would say spend more time researching keywords, spend more time writing better content, spend more time building links, and don't worry about having X number of articles on your site or anything like that. Like, you can rank a site with literally one page. It doesn't have to have all of this different stuff on it. And the website that you see now was not the website we first had.
Oh no. It's changed a lot.
Yeah, we've redesigned it at least 3 times, and this is the final one, and it's been a lot of iteration.
I'm done. We're not doing this again. No. Yeah, no, but it's challenging, but it's true. And I mean, when you have a website, it's not just built and done, like it's a constant innovation. You know what I mean? You're always going to be, ideally you're always going to be looking to improve it, looking to roll out new things. I mean, Messenger is a big thing at the minute, the Facebook Messenger. I'm looking to get a Facebook Messenger chat bot. The episode with Paul Ace, who's doing the chatbots for like John Lee Dumas and Amy Porterfield and Screwed9to5.com. His episode should be released tomorrow on the podcast. So like, yeah, once you hear that, you're like, oh my God, like, why am I not doing that?
But I will say on that, don't, to anyone listening to this, don't get distracted by all of the new fancy technology. Like, pick one strategy and just keep hammering it until you get it to work.
Yeah.
And don't give up on it until you've really exhausted it, because too many people are just like, oh, I'll try chatbots, oh, I'll try Facebook ads, oh, I'll try SEO, oh, I'll try social media, oh, XYZ, and they only do it for a couple days or a couple weeks or whatever, and then they give up on it. And that is kind of what held us back in the beginning. Like, I did how many different businesses? I had different e-commerce stores and Etsy stores and all kinds of different stuff that I was trying, and I never was successful until I found the one thing that started to work and then just hammered home on it.
double down on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps when you have a partner who can help you keep aligned, because mine is good for calling me on my shit too. And she's like, Adam, stop it. You're trying to do too many things again.
Yep. Yep.
So get focused, please. I know we could possibly do that, but you can't do it all right now. So let's get this thing working.
I think more than that too, you should build relationships with other people more than social media and everything too.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of our success has been building relationships, like with you, Adam, for example, doing this podcast, like getting on other podcasts, or even just listening to podcasts and reaching out and say, hey, this was an awesome episode. I learned this and implemented it, and this happened. And don't even ask for anything. Just reach out and say thank you.
Even the people that you want in your posts, like when I reach out to people, I try to be as personable. And if they have a website, I read it and I'll try to talk to them before just asking them for something. Just like building relationships in general has helped a lot.
And I think I even mentioned this on the article that you were talking about, the White Hat SEO one. I mentioned relationship link building is the best link building we've ever had.
Just as important as anything else.
That's huge. And do you go to, is this mostly done virtual, or do you go to events? Because I mean, you're in the USA, so I mean, I know there's all sorts of events for bloggers and digital marketers and social media. And
we have gone to some events, but mostly it's online.
It's like 99% virtual.
Oh, that's fair enough. But I agree with what you're saying, this personalized outreach to relevant people in your industry. And, I like doing videos. I'm a wild man for talking. So I'll send people voice clips on Facebook or Instagram. I'll record a video and attach it to an email and be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. And plus, once you start building relationships, you can do what Steve did with you and I and just introduce people to each other that you think would get along, and then people will view you as a connector and as helpful and all this other stuff. And it's not like I'm trying to ask Steve for anything. Like, he just introduced us just because he knows that you and I would be potentially a good fit for the podcast and everything. So
yeah, I mean, he knows that I'm into building affiliate sites and building what I call authority websites. And he was just like, oh, you gotta meet Bill and Kayla. I was like, all right, sweet. And I was like, Jesus, look at that site. That is a absolute beast. It's like, I gotta talk to these. Like, how the hell did you build such a thing? And it's consistent effort over multiple years with extensive research and lots of work.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's what it sounds like. So look, thank you both for coming on and joining me. I really appreciate it. So where can people find you on the internet if they were looking to connect with you?
Yeah, thanks for having us, Adam. For me, you can go to billwidmer.com or thewanderingRV.com. We have contact pages on both those sites. Kayla, you want to give the name of your site out?
My site is thesustainableharvest.com.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That's the newest one, the newest venture, Elementor, not Thrive. So we'll see how that gets on.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
I've been doing that for almost 2 years now. It's just I've redesigned my site so many times, and I just recently rebranded it. So it's kind of new, but I've been doing it for a while.
It takes some time to figure out what you want.
But it always does. But this is the thing too, for people to when people are listening, even when you are experienced, you do things and then you're like, no, that's not quite right, and let's change it again. And that's just life. But the hardest part is, well, not the hardest part, but the most important part is taking action. Getting something up, sticking to it, being consistent, and doing the work. And that's the most important thing at the end of the day. Because if you're just thinking about it and not doing anything, I mean, nothing's going to come of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And this might be totally random compared to everything we've been talking about, but one of my biggest tips for anybody listening to this is get some kind of daily journal, like the Self Journal, or John Lee Dumas has that, what is it called? Not the Master Journal, the other one. I forget what it's called, but if you look it up, you'll find it. And it's just like these journals where you figure out where you want to be in 3 or 6 or 12 months. You figure out your exact goal, you write it down, you write down an action plan, like the steps that you need to take over that time. And then every single day you write, here's what I'm going to do today. And at the end of the day, you write, did I do it? Yes or no? Why or why not? What can I do better tomorrow? What am I grateful for? And that's it. It takes less than 5 minutes a day, and it keeps you on track. And it's probably one of the biggest things that's ever helped me to get our site to where it's at and keep me accountable, along with Kayla, of course. Just
of course. Yeah, I have the Best Self journal sitting literally right beside me on the desk, which is similar. Yeah. I don't use it religiously. I use it kind of weekly, but I think it's really important too, like just on what you're talking about there, to not set yourself too many things to do, and you know, then you don't accomplish them, because then you just kind of, you're wiring your brain in a way that's like, you know, I don't do all the things I said I was going to do. So small, correct actions, taking action, you know, doing things that you say you're going to do, and so you're not lying to yourself, and that helps to build that momentum, and also build like the neural pathways in your brain. It's like, I do the things I'm going to say. You know, I'm not somebody who's like, oh, I'm going to do all these things, and then you don't do them, and then you're kind of reinforcing that belief. So don't be that person.
Yeah, that's huge. And if anybody out there has been, you know, lying to themselves or saying they're going to get something done and haven't been able to do it, you can always change that. Like, don't continue to beat yourself up. Just say, look, this is what I've been doing. This is what I've been doing wrong. And then start small. Say, I'm going to take 5 minutes today to do this one task, and then do that. And then just those little teeny tiny baby steps will build that confidence in yourself over time.
That's it. Marginal gains. That's what it's all about. 1% better every day, at least.
Yes, exactly.
That's a brilliant story. Look, thank you, Bill and Kayla. Have a lovely evening. Thank you very much for joining me. And thank you to all the listeners for tuning in. I hope they found this actionable and insightful.
Thanks for having us, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Digital Nomad Cafe podcast. Head over to the website to access the resources and links mentioned in today's episode at digitalnomadcafe.com.